Hello, I'm Frodo and this is yet another budget deck tech. Today we're going to talk about really cool combo deck which includes 3 cards. I decided that the best budget home for that combo is Temur, but you can also try different options since the combo itself is monocolored. I found out this combo exists when I was playing against one player on MTGO who played a mono blue version of it and of whom I am really thankful. That was an awesome game to play. But enough talking, let's head to the brewery. Our combo includes 3 cards, which isn't too much I guess. These cards are Naru Meha, Master Wizard, Flux, Reservoir and Release to the Wind. We include 3 copies of every single one of them. We don't want a full playset since they don't do much by themselves, but how does it work? So what we need is have an already resolved Flux Reservoir and enough mana to cast both Naru Meha and Release to the Wind the same turn. As the combo is instant speed, the best way is to wait for our opponent to tap out and just then start it. We play our Release to the Wind targeting anything what is possible target, and before it resolves we cast Naru Meha. She enters the battlefield and copies Release to the Wind. That copy exiles Naru Meha and lets us play her without paying mana cost. So, as she has flash, we flash her in before the still unstuck copy of Release to the Wind resolves and copy it once again. We can do that infinitely. Doing this triggers Flux Reservoir every time so we get more and more life. The number grows with every repetition. And then we may hit our opponent for 50 or 100, any number of damage we need to win. The combo is pretty consistent, but by playing mono blue version of it I have found out that nearly every time we've got outrunned and we couldn't even reach 7 lands to have possibility of comboing off. There are 2 main reasons why I thought that Temur build might be the best budget option for this deck. The first one is enchantment that I love and it would be splendid for me to see it becoming a thing. Sadly it won't, since standard is too fast. Anyway, Bounty of the Luxa is a great card against control decks and the perfect card for our build since it fixes 2 main problems of this combo deck. For 4 mana we get an enchantment that gives us additional draw to find our combo pieces and the next turn additional mana to cast it. The worst thing about Bounty is that it doesn't do anything the turn it enters. Anyway, it feels great having 2 copies of it on board and getting both 3 additional mana and a draw each turn. It not only helps us find our combo pieces but also makes it a lot easier to actually combo off. Also, it fits really well into our curve since a turn after playing Bounty of the Luxa we can cast our second reason to use Temur version. It's Hour of Devastation, 5 mana sweeper which deals 5 damages to each creature and non-bolas planeswalkers. And what is really important, since there are a lot of indestructible creatures floating around, all creatures lose their indestructibility until end of turn. With all the draw we have in our deck, we shouldn't have a problem with getting 1 copy of it before turn 5, and after casting it we normally get a few additional turns to turn things right for us. If you don't mind the budget or you already have Fumigate and Settle the Wreckage, Band build might be a bit better. Red isn't bad, as it gives us Sweltering Suns option in our sideboard, but playing Bind might give us additional win condition and approach of the second sun. Well, anyway, we have 4 copies of Bounty of the Luxa and 4 copies of Hour of Devastation in our main board, and all of these are decent. But there is a long way from turn 1 up to turn 4, when we want to cast our Bounty of the Luxa. Preferably or Flux Reservoir, not to mention our journey to comboing off, which is turn 6 in the fastest option. We have to do something throughout these turns. I will open our low mana cost card list with Opt, 1 mana Scry Wand and draw a card. It is a great card to have on every phase of the game. Early game it helps us find our lands, later it is perfect as a cheap way to dig for our responses and combo pieces. It's just perfect. One card I wasn't really excited about earlier is Blink of an Eye. This is a 2 mana bounce spell which lets us return any non-land permanent to our opponent's hand. It also has Kicker. For 2 additional mana we do also draw a card, which makes this card really great. Most of bounce spells come with the downside that we lose 1 card while our opponent doesn't. With this one it is not the same. Thanks to Kicker cost we can replace it. It is also great feeling to bounce plus later counter something. One of the most annoying things in MTG and so it is also awesome. We include 3 copies of it in our deck. We also have Haze of Pollen, which is 2 mana fog card with upside of Heaven Cycle. Against creature decks it gives us additional turn to gather our forces, and against control decks we can just simply cycle it at the end of our opponent's turn. It is important to remember that it stops just combat damages, so burn cards are still a thing against it. The card we have 4 of is Supreme Will. It was auto-included in this build, at least for me. It is 3 mana instant that gives us 2 options. We can counter our opponent's spell unless he or she pays 3, or look at the top 4 cards of our library and take one into our hand. We have to put the rest on the bottom in any order. Not only it slows down our opponent by countering their stuff, but if there is nothing worth countering, we might use it to find our combo pieces, and looking at 4 cards does terrific job. We also need more card draws, so we have 4 copies of Glimmer of Genius, which thanks to Bounty of the Luxa sometimes turn into a 1 mana scry to draw 2 cards. This is also the greatest 4 mana way in the current standard to do something at the end of our opponent's turn. Sometimes Glimmer of Genius is a game saver. It also gives us additional energy for our Ether Hubs. The last non-land card we play is Commit to Memory. Commit lets us bump 1 non-land permanent or spell our opponent controls and place it second from top of library, which can slow things down a lot, and this is the thing we need most of the time. It is really good for us, but we need this card mostly for memory part of it, as it lets us get back our combo pieces back to the library or our hand back from the graveyard. The combo is our only win condition and we need the ways to protect it somehow. For 6 mana we also just reset the game, while preferably our board state is better than our opponent's, with some copies of Bounty of the Luxa or just bigger amount of lands. Hopefully, memory will be the way to gather our combo pieces or ways to survive. With the help of Bounty of the Luxa, it is not as painful for us to cast. Sometimes with this additional mana provided by an enchantment, we would cast memory for 6 mana and open up to everything our opponent wants to do. If we have to pay just 3 mana with our lands and 3 with Bounty of the Luxa ability, we should still be able to react to anything our opponent would like to cast from freshly refilled hand. In our mana base there is nothing really special. We have 4 Ether Hubs to fix our mana with additional energy provided by Glimmer of Genius, 4 copies of Sulphur Falls, 4 copies of Hinterland Harbor, and 5 mountains, 4 islands and 3 forests. Our sideboard is also pretty simple. We have 4 negates against control decks, 4 essence scatters against creature-based strategies and Scarab God Gerhard control matchups, 1 naturalize against artifact or enchantment decks, 2 trashing Brontodons for the same purpose as naturalize, but it's better against creature decks with vehicles, as provides us with additional blocker. As for non-budget additions, we would definitely love to have 1 copy of Search for Azcanta. I don't think we need more, as it misses 2 or 3 of our combo pieces. In non-budget version I would probably turn it into Turbo Fog deck that aims into resolving our combo, but also has an option to cast Approach of the Second Sun as the second win condition. We could probably make some use of Almighty Teferi, who can slow our opponent down, draw us something, and is just a great card by itself. It would be probably even better addition than Approach. And that is all for today's Budget Deck Tech. I invite all of you to watch games I played with this build. Some of those were truly awesome, especially the one against what I think is our toughest matchup, so Blue-White Control. If you have enjoyed the video, please hit this like and subscribe buttons below. See you soon!